this is Jonas Nordwall, and I have the pleasure of playing the silent movie for the Western Regional American Guild of Organists Convention. My background is not just in movie playing. I was fortunate to have several classical organ teachers that were among the best in the business in the latter part of the 20th century. And those included Richard Purvis, the Canadian organist Fred Gagan, and my principal University of Portland instructor, who was Arthur Hitchcock. And he had a background with the movie business. He was the principal organist and pianist for 20th Century Fox Studios from 1935 to 1950. I've been the organist at First United Methodist Church since 1971. And it's a good group of people to work with. One of the major things that got me really interested back in the 1970s, I did a special for the Portland Opera Company playing the Phantom of the Opera. And when this idea of doing a silent movie was brought up to me, I thought, hey, this is great. And I've actually played this film before. It's the 1920 Mark of Zorro. And the principal star, of course, is Douglas Fairbanks. And the reason I selected this movie, the theme of the convention is Let's Dance. And of all his action films, this particular film has more, what you could say, choreographed material, dances in many ways. The other thing about this versus the other films, this film starts out within about the first 5 minutes with Fairbanks making his appearance as Zorro and doing the sword fights, which of course is the choreography. And it's a wonderful film. It's not an overly long film. And it's something that, especially if you are a baby boomer, you will remember the old Disney television show, Zorro, and that was based on this 1920 version. Concerning creating a score for the film, I've had some unique experiences watching other people play silent movies. And there's several different approaches to it. One, of course, is creating your own unique score. The other one is using snippets from some classical repertoire and modifying it. And I tend to think of myself more as a modifier and an arranger than a composer. Although the thing that's interesting, you can take themes. It's like the old concept that's been around forever, theme and variations. And so I will take a theme and play around with it. The big challenge a lot of times is moving from theme to theme. And you know, that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, is how do you make smooth transitions? You can't play everything in the same key. You've got to map it out exactly how you want to go about that. Another important thing is how many themes do you want to use in a film? Depending on the number of characters, do you have a theme for the character? Do you have a theme for the event? And all that enters into it. It takes some time to really process that. The instrument is located in Portland's Cleveland High School. That's not its original home. It was upriver in a town of Kelso, Washington, and it started out as a 9-rank customized Kimball organ back in the 20s. And the organ was moved down to Benson High School here in Portland, and that was in the 30s. And at the time, there were several high schools that were built, and it was kind of a thing of notoriety to have pipe organs in a high school. And there were several schools in Portland that were built with pipe organ chambers. Really, Benson wasn't. They had to modify it when they put the instrument in. And it so happened that the co-founder of the Rogers Organ Company, Rog Jenkins, was a student at Benson High School when the organ was installed, and so he helped the organ crew, and of course that's what started his interest in organs. The organ was not just 9 ranks when it was in Benson. It had been increased to about 24 ranks. The installers were the Balcom and Vaughn Company in Seattle, Sandy Balcom and Pop Vaughn. And the organ was there, and then it had some problems. There were issues with water leakage in the chambers. And about 1969, 1970, the local chapter of the American Theater Organ Society took the instrument on as a challenge to get it playing again, and which it did. And it was used for several concerts during the 70s and 80s. And my experience with the instrument dates back to then. In fact, there was a student radio station called KBPS, and its director was a friend of mine. He said, "Hey, can you come over and record some stuff for broadcast?" And originally they were an AM station, and then they began converting to FM, and of course the organ was a perfect instrument to sell the improved fidelity. And everything was kind of okay. And then about 1989, the music director at First United Methodist, Bill Covert, was also the music superintendent for Portland Public Schools. And he said, "We've got a problem. They're remodeling Benson, and they want to get rid of the main chamber. They need to put a stairwell in there. What do we do with the organ?" Well, I was an alum of Cleveland High School, and in fact had been on the stage crew for a year or so, and I knew what the chambers could handle. And so that began the dialogue with the district, and the instrument was again rebuilt and installed. And it really didn't get much use for a while. And in 2010, the National Convention of the American Theater Organ Society was held in Seattle. And when it was either in Seattle or Portland, we always had a travel day between the two cities. And it was decided we wanted to use Cleveland as one of the instruments. And so about 2 years before that, we started to go through the organ again. And quite frankly, the organ now is one of the outstanding theater organs on the West Coast. Well, now that you've had some history about the instrument and myself, I invite you to join us on July 12th at Cleveland High School. The program starts at 7 o'clock, and there are a few special additions just besides the silent movie. I wanted to create an experience that you would have if you were in a theater back in the 20s. Hope to see you there.